Good morning, Mega Podlings. It is Crazy Joe here. Hope everyone's doing good. It is Tuesday night. Let me see. Is this camera? Let's get this seen properly. Hey, everyone. Good morning. Good morning, Mega Podlings. Yeah, Crazy Joe, Tuesday night, Crazy After Dark. And welcome. I hope everyone is well. I hope everyone is healthy. I hope everyone is keeping their social distance. And most of all, I hope everyone is keeping their morale up, because these are tough times we're living in, obviously. In fact, I did a live stream Friday night. Some of you may have been there. And Friday wasn't a good day for me. So Friday night I went live, and I'll tell you, I was a bit of a bummer, which I apologize. If you caught that live stream, I apologize. You did not catch me at my best. I probably shouldn't have gone live. And that is why that stream is no longer on the channel. I took it down because I'm like, I'm not here to bum people out. That's not why I do this. I don't come to depress people, you know. Hopefully this is a fun channel. That's what I aim for. I aim to keep it fun, keep it light, keep it positive. One of the reasons I often complain about some of the negative YouTube channels that I call the troll channels is because all they do is you bitch and complain about everything. And that's why they're there. They're there to bitch and complain. And I always think it's the line from Rose Tico in The Last Jedi. You know, we don't want to destroy what we hate. We want to celebrate what we love. And that's what this channel's about, celebrating what you love. So the last thing you want to do is come on here and see me all bummed out and depressed. So I apologize for that. I don't see anyone in the chat yet, which is unusual. I see people watching, but nobody has said anything. So anyway, hi. Oh, and there's someone. Christopher Pike, how you doing? And Lisa. The funny thing is, I just saw Lisa on another stream. I was getting ready to go live, and I was getting all set up to go live. And when I got the iPad out, it said, Tough Pigs was live. And I thought, damn it, Johannes. This is my night. Why are you stepping on my toes? But I went in and my good friend Mr. Johannes of toughpigs.com was doing a live stream as well. And I went in and just caught the last couple minutes of it. And Lisa was there. Lisa was in the chat. So Lisa, it is good to see you. And I saw a couple of our other regulars in the chat of a different live stream earlier today. I've been working from home. So on my lunch break, I've been kind of watching the John Campea show while I work. And I looked in the live chat, and two of our regulars were in the chat at the John Campea show. It was Jesse and John Hine. I saw both John Hine and Jesse today in the live chat over at the John Campea show. So let's see. Joey says, did you see my comment? And I'm looking up. Why won't the movie studios just take the L and release all the movies on streaming? Well, because it's too big of a loss. It's too big of a loss. They're not going to make the same amount of money off something like a Black Widow, or Black Widow is the one that I think there could be an argument made for taking the loss. Yes, it would be a big loss. It would be a big loss. But Disney Plus surprisingly has hit a roadblock in terms of original programming, which is shocking to me, because when we first heard about Disney Plus, we were told, you know, The Mandalorian, Falcon and Winter Soldier, we were given all these shows. So I kind of assumed, as I think many of us did, that they would prepare themselves to have, you know, like I would have thought when The Mandalorian ended, maybe you would have a month, maybe 2 weeks. I don't know. I would have thought like Falcon and Winter Soldier would have been ready to go. But we're not getting Falcon and Winter Soldier till August. So you've got this months-long gap where there's no original content really coming from Disney Plus. And that seems odd. So yes, if they took Black Widow direct to Disney Plus, it would be a huge financial loss for them. But it could also fill a gap that they have there in original content. And my God, what original content is that? Look at this. This is the only place you can see this new MCU movie. That's going to bring people on board. People who aren't on board yet would come on board for that. So I could see an argument being made for that one. But that's about the only one I could see an argument being made for. Independent films, something that wasn't going to do big in the theater anyway. Yeah, I could see that. Also, there's a couple movies, like Trolls. Trolls 2 is going direct to video on demand. And I think there's an argument that can be made there too, because number one, apparently Trolls 2 hasn't been tracking very well, which shocks me, because I got 2 kids who love Trolls. They want to see Trolls 2. They're excited for Trolls 2. And I know Cinema Sickness' son, Sean, he's excited for Trolls 2. So I thought Trolls was something all the kids were into, but apparently not. And here's Jesse. I saw Jesse in the chat earlier today. Welcome. I know I'm falling behind, but give me a second here. So the one thing I could see is, with all the movies getting held back right now, you've got your James Bond, you've got your Black Widow, Mulan, and the New Mutants, and so many getting held back. But you also have the movies that were already scheduled for August, September, October, November. So there's already kind of a full slate there. So I could see you saying, well, there's just no room on the schedule. Like we're going to be looking at a really crowded schedule. If we hold all the movies back, you're going to be looking at a really crowded schedule. Like, where are you going to put them all? Because now you're going to have all these movies fighting for the same release dates, because there's movies that are already set in those release dates, the movies that were already set for like the fall, and then you're going to get the movies that get held back, and eventually it's just going to be a point of there's not room on the release schedule for all this stuff. So I could see that being a really good reason to do it for the smaller films like your Trolls 2. But yeah, the bigger ones like Wonder Woman, it just wouldn't make sense to do it that way financially. Boredom Strike says, now the filming of the Captain America show is suspended due to the coronavirus. That's true, but they had been filming for a while, so I'm hoping they were kind of close to done. Joey says, stop being greedy, take the L. No, it's too big of a loss. It's not good business sense. It's not good business sense. Anyone who suggested that would have to answer to their shareholders. And Brandon says Disney's already taken a loss with Onward. Yeah, that's absolutely true. And Lisa said, what is on my shirt? Lisa, it is I Survived Christmas Eve, Kingston Falls, 1984. Let's see. Boredom Strike says, very true, Brandon. Onward really got crushed. They will lose tons of money on that one, which is a shame, because Onward is really good. Onward is really good. It's one of my favorite Pixar movies. It's terrific. But I'll tell you the truth, I'm also kind of excited that I'm going to get to watch it on Disney Plus. Not this Friday, but next. Donald Barber says, never fear, I am here. Welcome, Donald. Welcome. Joey says, Onward will be a W in the long run with all the brownie points. It doesn't really work that way, though. Wonder Woman 84 now has a release date for August 14th. Yes, my wife is very excited about that because it's so close to her birthday. She's now calling Wonder Woman her birthday present. Brandon says, all these movies are getting pushed back, could make for the biggest summer of blockbusters since '89. Yeah, but the problem is they're not really going to have time. to find an audience. You know what I mean? Like, they'll all have big opening weekends. That's right. They'll all have big opening weekends. But then, like, the very next week, the next movie's coming out. Because, I don't know, it's going to be crowded, man. It's going to be crowded. Greg is here. Welcome, Greg. Wonder Woman needs to be put on streaming right now. No. Wonder Woman's got to be seen on a big screen. I'd be terribly disappointed if Wonder Woman went to streaming. I want to see that on a big screen. James says, hey, Crazy Joe, did you know there's a Flintstones show that featured shorts of the Marvel Comics hero The Thing? Yes. It was Fred and Barney and The Thing, right? It was called Fred and Barney Meet the Thing. That was the one where the kid, it wasn't the real Thing. It wasn't like the Thing, Fantastic Four thing. I mean, it was, but he was changed. He was a kid and he had a ring. They turned him into the Thing, and he would say, Thing ring, do your thing. I remember that. Yes. Yes. Let's see. James says, yesterday I bought Spaceballs on Blu-ray. The film still holds up. You know, I gotta disagree, James. I actually don't think it holds up. I watched it recently, and I thought, I mean, there's moments. There's definitely moments. But I didn't think it held up very well, actually. Not as well as some of Mel Brooks' other films like Blazing Saddles or my personal favorite, History of the World Part 1. Noah says, so you commented in the John Campea show today, and I was like, look, there's Joe. Noah, you were there too. Jesse was there. I saw John Hine there. Apparently all of us were in the chat at the John Campea show earlier today. And right before I came on, Lisa was over at the Tough Pigs live stream. So, see, I'm keeping tabs on you guys. I know where you are when you're not here. Jesse says, yes, Joe, I didn't agree with John Campea about the theaters punishing Universal. Yeah, John Campea, and I like John Campea. He's a pretty smart guy. He usually has pretty astute analysis on the movies. But he was saying something today that was just dumb. It was just dumb. And it's funny because if you read the chat, everyone was telling him, John, that's ridiculous. Because he was saying that the movie theaters are angry that Universal's putting Trolls 2 direct to streaming. And he said that it wasn't a good business decision because now Universal's going to the theaters are going to punish Universal by not giving their big movies as many screens. And they'll say, oh, you want X number of screens for Jurassic Park 6? Sorry, we can't do that. We've only got, we got less screens for you. Oh, we can't put Fast and Furious 9 on our biggest screens. You're going to, sorry, they're too crowded. You're going to take a lesser number. And I said, and several other people in the chat were saying, John, that's stupid. The theaters would take such a loss if a movie like Jurassic Park or Fast and the Furious wasn't in enough theaters. They would be spiting themselves to get revenge. Like it would be hurting their bottom line. Doesn't make sense. It's not logical. No, maybe for a smaller release, maybe for something that wasn't as in demand, maybe a theater would do that. But they would never do that for a Jurassic Park or a Fast and the Furious. Just doesn't make sense. Jesse says, Joe, I guess your Tubi TV has different shows than mine in Canada. I couldn't find that Mr. T show you mentioned earlier. Oh, that's a shame. I put something up on the community tab. And Tubi TV is free. It's ad-supported, so you don't have to pay for a subscription. But it's a free service that you can get on any Roku. And one of the shows they have on there is the 1988 TV series T&T. It was Mr. T's follow-up series after the A-Team. Every episode of T&T is up there. They're only a half hour long. They're goofy. They're fun. And I said, what if we did a T&T watch party live stream? And basically, I'll put the camera on me, not on the TV, because that would be, infringement. You'd be looking at me, but I would turn on my TV and watch TNT. We'd sync it up. I'd tell you where I'm going to start now. This is the episode. And then you watch it, I watch it, and we chat and have a TNT watch party. But Jesse's saying it's not available on the Canadian version of Tubi. So that is unfortunate. Brandon says CBS All Access is offering a free month. I caved and signed up. I also heard that Picard is being made available for free. I don't know if that's the same deal, but that's a pretty good deal. It seems like the studios are trying to make this as painless for us as they can, being trapped in. So it's like now you don't even have to be a CBS subscriber. You can enjoy every episode of Picard, which I got to be honest with you, I'm really on the fence about Picard. I'm really on the fence. I want to love it. I liked the early episodes. First couple episodes, I'm like, I'm in, let's go. This is good. But then it kind of felt like it was spinning its wheels. It wasn't really kind of going anywhere. There's moments here and there. Like the Riker episode was pretty good. But overall, I'm not loving Picard. One of my problems with Picard is that it doesn't feel like Star Trek. And I know why it doesn't feel like Star Trek. It's because every Star Trek up till now, every single one, the central characters have been Starfleet officers. Now, the Deep Space Nine, they weren't all Starfleet officers. Odo, Kira, they weren't in Starfleet. They were in the Bajoran militia. And Garrick and Quark, they were civilians. They were the tailor and the bartenders. So you had civilians on that show. So that was the first show where we had main characters who weren't in Starfleet. But still, the main characters were in Starfleet. Now, Picard is the first Star Trek series we've ever had where none of them are in Starfleet. Now, a few of them are ex-Starfleet officers. Picard was in Starfleet, obviously. Raffi, his friend Raffi, she was a Starfleet officer. Captain Rios was a Starfleet officer. But none of them are in Starfleet currently. So we're not following a Starship crew. We're following civilians on on kind of a rogue mission. And that gives the show a very different flavor than anything we've seen before. And that's good. You know, being different is good. You don't want the same thing all the time. But it doesn't feel like Star Trek. So I don't hate the show. I'm watching it. I'm getting some enjoyment from it. But I'd say if we listed all the Star Trek live action series, Picard is my second least favorite so far. Now, they can go into season 2. And, first season of Next Generation, garbage. The first season of Next Generation might be the worst season of any Star Trek show. Season 1 of Next Generation, awful. But the show got much better. And it's considered one of the best. Some people think it is the best. So Picard could totally turn it around in season 2. Maybe season 2 will come out and I'll watch it and be like, oh, wow, they've completely flipped me on this show. But right now, it's my second least favorite Star Trek series. And my least favorite is Voyager. But I'm going to keep watching. I don't hate it. And I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. Noah says, I agree with John with it being bad business, not about the screens, but I understood why the theaters were upset. I agree with what John was saying about how Universal should have discussed it with the theaters first. I don't think Universal made the wrong business decision. I think putting it out in streaming was first was the right move. But the idea that they just told the Theater National Association of Theater Owners 20 minutes before the press release went out, that was kind of a low blow. They should have had a discussion, and even if they said, listen, we're not giving this a theatrical release because we don't think it's going to make money, but we're holding back Fast and the Furious a full year. That's one of our big ones. I think if you sold it to them that way and said, listen, we're still with you, it's just this one, we're going to take a bath on this. I think there was a better way to handle it, but yeah, the idea that the theaters would not give them screens over it just seemed ridiculous to me. James says, parts of season 9, Fairly Odd Parents season 10 is the season I don't recommend. I've seen some episodes of Fairly Odd Parents. Joey says, if you want to do a watch party, you can use an app called Rabbit, where we can all watch the same thing together. I'd have to look into that. Donald says, I like Picard. It's like Picard is drug out to fill up a season. It does kind of feel that way. Todd with a super chat, and where is Super Chat Hippo? I apologize. Super Chat Hippo is missing. Where did he go, man? You know what? I did a live stream from the other side of the room the other day. I wonder if he's over there. I owe you a Super Chat Hippo. Let me find this guy. Where are you hiding, Super Chat Hippo? Where the heck are you, man? Here he is. Sorry about that. He was on the other side of the room. So Todd says, did I catch Alf on Duncanville yet? I did not. I will. I had never heard of Duncanville till you sent me that email, but I'm interested. Sam says, your opinion on Picard is the same for me with Supergirl. First couple of seasons were good, but it just fell flat the rest of the way. You know, Sam, I totally agree with you on Supergirl. I gave up on Supergirl. I can't watch it anymore. I can't watch it. And I loved the first season. And I just thought it got progressively worse every season. But you know, here's the thing. I think that's true of all the shows in the Arrowverse. Flash, it's not nearly as good as it used to be. And the only exception is Legends of Tomorrow, which is gets better every season. That just keeps getting continuously better. And the others are getting continuously worse. I don't know what it is. James says, say, Crazy Joe, have you seen Fairly Odd Parents episodes with Norm the Genie? It's great. His character has a Robin Williams personality with the dry humor of Norm Macdonald. Does Norm do the voice? No, I haven't seen those episodes. Hang on a second. I'm going to take a sip of my Corona beer, the antidote to the virus. Oh, yeah, that's fine. Frank Castle says, hey, Crazy Joe, are you a fan of the Creed movies? Do you think the third one is necessary? Well, you know, Frank, I want to see a third one. I will tell you, I don't believe any movie is necessary. There's just no such thing as a necessary movie. We get movies because we want them, not because they're necessary. Do I want a Creed 3? You bet I do. You bet I do. I want a Creed 3. I really like them. I really like them. I think the second Creed might have been better than the first Creed. And the second Creed actually improved my least favorite Rocky movie. My least favorite Rocky movie was Rocky 4. But after Creed 2, Ivan Drago is not such a cartoon character anymore. That movie fleshed him out. So I actually think Rocky 4 is a better movie after you watch Creed 2. So yeah, I'm on board. Speaking of Creed 3, I got one of the characters from Rocky 3 with me here, Clubber Lang. There he is. I pity the fool who don't watch Crazy After Dark. Yeah. I'm so proud. My 4-year-old daughter told me I pity the fool earlier today. And then we watched an episode of the Mr. T animated series from the 80s. And I ended the show and I said, what do you think of Mr. T, Kira? And she told me, he's the toughest guy around. I said, you're making Daddy proud. You're making Daddy proud. So yeah, I'm a little disappointed. You can only get season 1. You can't get seasons 2 and 3. I want the full series, man. Donald says, what's everybody stuck at home movies? Today I watched My Cousin Vinny, Hidden Figures, and Birds of Prey. I never saw Hidden Figures, but my God, Birds of Prey is a great movie, and My Cousin Vinny is a great movie. I've heard good things about Hidden Figures. I got to see that. And James says, Norm Macdonald does do the voice. All right. Lisa says, did you catch any of the MGT watch party in our Muppet group? It was amusing. Tonight's 8 p.m. stream crashed, so they were having a redo. I did not. I read about it after the fact. I wouldn't have had time anyway, though, because of the way with the kids, you know. James says, ever seen Riverdale, the Archie reboot? I never did. I never saw Riverdale. There was an Archie made-for-TV movie in the 80s called, like, Archie Back to Riverdale, and it was like an adult, like 30-year-old Archie goes to his high school reunion. Does anyone remember this movie? It was a live action made for TV movie called like Archie Back to Riverdale or something like that. Who remembers that movie? I think it was a pilot for a TV series and the show never got picked up. Sam says, I'm glad Legends of Tomorrow removed a couple of people and added a couple of people each season because it makes the show more enjoyable. The Flash cast needs more charisma in their acting. I'll tell you, I'm so kind of burned out on the Flash that I wish Elongated Man would move over to Legends of Tomorrow. I'd actually rather have Elongated Man on Legends of Tomorrow. By the way, a little trivia about Elongated Man. My birthday was Saturday, this past Saturday. That was my birthday. And I share a birthday with Elongated Man. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason I share a birthday for Elongated Man. I share a birthday with a comic book writer, Mark Waid. Mark Waid wrote 8 Years of the Flash. He was a good writer. Wrote Fantastic Four, Captain America. Really, one of the great comic book writers of our era, Mark Waid. Terrific writer. But his birthday is the same as mine, March 21st. So he was writing a Justice League story. And in it, they always say in the comics that Elongated Man, his wife creates a mystery he has to solve every year on his birthday. That's like his birthday treat is she like does an elaborate mystery for him to solve. But they never say when his birthday is. Well, Mark Waid was writing a story once and it involved Ralph's birthday mystery. And he decided to say when Ralph's birthday was, and he gave Ralph Dibny, Elongated Man, his own birthday, March 21st. And I was reading it and I got excited because I realized I share a birthday with Elongated Man. So I thought that was pretty cool. Jesse says, Joe, did you like Star Trek V, The Final Frontier? Oh, man, I have a copy of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier on beta right here. Here it is. My beta copy of Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I love Star Trek V, The Final Frontier. I love this movie. This is a movie that does not get the respect it deserves. It really was ahead of its time. It's not perfect. There's problems with the movie, but it does some things that the Star Trek series that followed would kind of piggyback off of. For example, the character of Spock's brother, Sybok. It's the first time in all of Star Trek that we see an emotional Vulcan. He's a Vulcan who has rejected logic and believes that passion is the key. And we never saw that before. And in 1989, people complained about that and said, oh, they got the Vulcan wrong. Who ever heard of a emotional Vulcan? That's not a thing. But I always said it makes sense. It makes a lot of sense because a whole race of people are not going to agree on something like that. It's like, can you imagine if the president said tomorrow, hey, guess what? We're going to ban emotions. You're not allowed to have emotions anymore. How do you think that would go? How many people do you think would be like, yeah, I'm on board, let's do that? So you've got a whole race that decided to suppress emotions and embrace logic. There's going to be a guy who's going to be like, yeah, I don't want to do that. Wait, you crazy? I'm not into that. No, I don't want to suppress my emotions. You're crazy. There's going to be that guy. And this was the first we saw it. And then in the follow-up spin-offs like Enterprise and Discovery, we started seeing new wrinkles to the Vulcans where the Vulcans weren't as perfect as we were always led them to believe that they were. Like, we got the episode Stigma on Enterprise where we found out there's kind of some bigotry amongst the Vulcans. And on Discovery, there was some Vulcans who tried to kill Ambassador Sarek because of the fact he was married to a human woman. And they thought, you know, like, oh, you're You shouldn't be married to a human woman. You're a Vulcan. You're going to like impurify the Vulcan bloodline. What's wrong with you? So we started getting this more shades of the Vulcan later on. But I kind of say it started here with Cybok. Cybok was the first we saw a Vulcan who wasn't just, logic is the way, all emotion, blah, blah, blah. He was the first Vulcan who had that gray area. And then we saw more of that as time went on. So I feel like that film was ahead of its time. Jamel says, do I like Onward? I love Onward. I absolutely love Onward. I thought it was great. Donald says, I heard they were going after Tyson Fury, the boxer, to be the villain in Creed 3. I don't know who Tyson Fury is. I don't actually follow boxing, so I'm not sure who that is. But it's possible because I believe pretty much all the villains in the Creed movies have been actual boxers or MMA fighters or some kind of fighters, right? I think so. James says, ever seen Archie's Weird Mysteries? It's a great show that focuses on deep cryptic stuff, but also understands the Archie lore. I've heard of it. I have not seen it. Lisa says, our Muppet group is actually doing a watch party 8 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. I guess the router died, so if you're bored. The trick is the kids are still awake at 8 o'clock. That's the problem. So 8 o'clock is a tough time. James says, say, Crazy Joe, ever seen Yogi Bear and the Magical Flight of the Spruce Goose? In my opinion, it's not a good Yogi Bear special, but I respect your opinion. I like Yogi Bear. I don't think I've seen that one. I like the theatrical Yogi Bear film, Hey There, It's Yogi Bear. I remember seeing that in the movies, and that's from the 60s. But it got a re-release in 1986. So it was back in theaters in 1986, and I did see it on the big screen. And I own it on DVD. Sam says, have you seen The Platform on Netflix? I have not. Have I listened to the newest podcast episodes recently? Again, I haven't. I do my podcast listening in the car, usually during my commute to and from work. And I've been working from home, so I actually haven't listened to any podcasts in like a couple of weeks. Joey says, ban emotions. That's the plot of the emoji movie. Well, then the emojis are Vulcans. Donald says, I ran across Platform accidentally last night and actually ended up watching it. Intriguing story concept. Aubrey is here. Welcome, Aubrey. I saw you bought a Blank Me Sandwich t-shirt. I'd like to point out I don't get a cut of those. Despite the fact I'm the one who brought it to the table, I don't get a cut of those. Anyway, James says, hey, Crazy Joe, ever seen the Rugrats movie and its sequels? They're all consistently good. Honestly, I've never seen much of the Rugrats TV series either. The Rugrats was kind of after my time. I think I was in college maybe when the Rugrats premiered. So no, I've never really seen Rugrats. I've seen like clips, but I've never seen a full episode of Rugrats. Joey says, out of protest, I will not watch any of these movies in theaters that the studios are refusing to release on streaming. The greed during a pandemic disgusts me. Well, Joey, it could be said you're being greedy. You're the one who wants the stuff on streaming. I mean, they're going to take a loss from that. Couldn't that be the greed of the consumer too? I mean, these studios do need to make a profit. That's how these things happen. Like if they're not profitable, what's going to keep them making the movies? And a lot of people are hurting right now. A lot of people are losing money, especially in Hollywood, where a lot of these actors, the big stars, the big major stars, they make millions of dollars. But the working actors, the day players, they're not millionaires. They work paycheck to paycheck too, and they're all out of work now. So it's not that easy of a thing. James says, "Hey there, it's Yogi Bear" is a great movie. I have it on DVD. Yeah, I like Yogi Bear. I never saw but then again, I'm not a fan of the thing where they take a beloved cartoon character and put them with live action. I'm not really like a CGI version. So I didn't see the Yogi Bear movie, but I'm not a fan of those things in general. I didn't like Alvin and the Chipmunks. I didn't like Scooby Doo. Lisa says it's not greed; it's a business. They can't just throw millions of dollars all out on all their product. I agree. I remember there were fans that were saying CBS was being greedy because they put Star Trek behind a paywall, and I was like, that doesn't make sense. That doesn't make any sense. Like, is Marvel greedy because Daredevil was on Netflix and that was behind a paywall? Is HBO greedy because you have to pay for HBO to see Game of Thrones? Like, I mean, it the show has to be profitable. It's like that's the bottom line: is the show has to be profitable. And Star Trek on network television doesn't work. We know it doesn't work. It's never worked. In the 60s, Star Trek aired on NBC. It was a failure. It coasted into a third season, but every season it was on the verge of cancellation. So it didn't work on network television. Then we had first run syndication in the 80s. So DS9 and Next Generation, they thrived in first run syndication. If they had been on network television, like if NBC had been showing Star Trek The Next Generation, that wouldn't have lasted a full season. It wouldn't have. And then later on, we got the UPN network, which was Paramount's startup network, and Voyager and Enterprise aired on the UPN network. So this was Star Trek's return to network television, and the ratings were abysmal. Voyager got terrible ratings. On any other network, it would have been canceled. It managed to squeak by on UPN because it happened to be the highest rated show on that network, but that network had terrible ratings. So then we got Enterprise on UPN, but suddenly Enterprise wasn't the highest rated show on the network anymore. WWE was. SmackDown was the highest rated show, and America's Next Top Model. Two reality shows were getting higher ratings than Star Trek. So again, Star Trek got the boot because it was the most expensive show on the network, and it was no longer the highest rated. So Star Trek on network television doesn't work. So you need a model where, okay, we're going to make this thing. We have to make a profit off it. You know, we're a business. So putting it on CBS All Access was a genius move. It was brilliant. Sam says, Kingpin is a really funny movie. I love Kingpin. Kingpin is my favorite. Kingpin is my favorite. What are their names? Brothers. The Dumb and Dumber. I'm forgetting their names. The Farley brothers. That's my favorite of their movies. Donald says, not into Scooby. Not the live action films. No. Jesse says, have I ever seen the 80s movie Daryl? Yes, but it's been a long time. Aubrey's got to go. She's probably already gone. Thank you for stopping by. Thanks for stopping by, Aubrey. Appreciate it, if you're still here. Donald says, my final theater experience was last Tuesday. They had a retro night with Weird Science. They closed all that. Had into Friday at midnight. Our drive-in is still open, though. That's awesome that you have a drive-in. We have a drive-in around here, but they don't show like newer movies. They show like classic old films, and we can never go because the movies start too late. Not too late for me, but Christine can't stay up for it. And we got the kids. It's not easy. It's just not an easy thing. Let's see. Tuffy Perkins. Welcome, Tuffy. Good to see you. Just says, I agree, Lisa. Watched it the other day for the first time in years. Forgot how great of a movie it is. That's probably one I should rewatch. Who remembers Explorers? Joe Dante's Explorers. I love Joe Dante's Explorers. Sam Haskell says, I would say HBO is greedy because it was free for years, and without telling you, they were just sending you bills. I'm very puzzled by that statement, Sam. I'm older than you. I am older than you. I'm 44 years old, and I don't remember HBO ever being free, except for like they would have a free preview weekend every now and then. But I don't remember a time when HBO was ever free. Noah says, I really love George of the Jungle. Thoughts on it? I liked it. The movie, we're talking about Brendan Fraser. I really liked the Brendan Fraser movie. That was really good. By the way, I hear Oreo crying up there. I don't know what's going on, but Oreo's definitely crying up there. Does he need to come downstairs? They can't hear me. Anyway. Sorry, I got thrown off by the dog. I did a video, went up earlier today. Some of you may have seen it. But because I can't really get out to the movies, review movies, I thought I would try something a little different. I mean, I've done it before, but I thought I would try something a little different where I had some guests on and Skype conversations like I did with Serial at Midnight a while back. So the first one was going to be with Chris Stoltz, Muppet Stuff Chris. And we shot it. We shot it on Skype, on video. But on playback, it didn't work. The video did not work. And I couldn't figure out why. Like, I would see the picture of he and I, but whenever I would try to play it, it would like move a little bit and then freeze. And then the audio would keep going, but we'd be freeze framed. And then I'd like close it out, open it up again. And I'd kind of move it to a different part of the video and play it. And we'd move a little and then we'd freeze, but the audio would keep going. And I'm like, what is going on here? And I sat on that video for a week. That video was shot last week. And it just went up today. Over a week. Last Sunday. So Sunday it was a week. And it just went up on Tuesday, today. So it was over a week I sat on that video. Because I couldn't get the video to work. It was driving me crazy. I was sending tech emails to the Skype. I said, what's going on with this video? How come I can't access this video? And they're like, well, send us a copy of your logs. We're going to check your logs. And they're like, oh, we can't find it. And I'm like, what are you talking about? So anyway, the video went up today. And all you get's audio. And it drives me crazy because there was video. We shot video. But you can only hear the audio. So I figure it's better to put the audio out than nothing. So you got the audio. I don't know how many of you listened to it. So I'm sorry about that. And it makes me very, very reluctant now to try any more video things because it's a crapshoot. It's a crapshoot. And I don't know. But then I did one the next night with a different person. And it came out fine. So I'm at a loss. Did any of you listen to that video today or see what that video I did with Chris about the Dark Crystal? And we got another one coming. We shot 2 in a row. So there's going to be another one of those audio-only videos coming in the near future, which it's unfortunate. Jesse says, I remember Explorers. It was a great movie. River Phoenix, Ethan Hawke were in it. I love that movie. Oh, Sam says, I just realized it was free with my TV subscription combination. Interesting. Punk Nerd says, I'm here. Welcome, Punk Nerd. Good to see you. Donald says, we played the George of the Jungle music in the middle school band for football games back in the day. George of the Jungle. Lisa says, that's the fun of the drive-thru as a kid. When it gets warmer, dress warm in PJs, park early, get snacks, let them run around and fall asleep in the back. Yeah, Christine won't go for it. She doesn't like being out too late, unfortunately. I love going to drive-ins, but we can never go because she says she would go if they started earlier, but then it's not dark, so they can't show the movie. Punk Nerd says, for some reason I had to search for your channel. It didn't show up in my subscriber feed. Could it, Punk Nerd, I think you have more than one name. Did you subscribe under a different name, maybe? because don't you have Punk Nerd with different numbers? That seems odd. James says, ever seen Ulysses 31? It's a great show. Have you heard of Jason the Wheel Warriors? I have heard of Jason the Wheel Warriors, and I vaguely remember Ulysses. I never watched Ulysses. Jason the Wheel Warriors, J. Michael Straczynski, creator of Babylon 5, he was a head writer on Jason the Wheeled Warriors for a while. Donald says, last time we went to the drive-in, we took our teens now, preteen and early teen, and then watched Wonder Woman and Baywatch. I didn't realize the movie Baywatch was going to be, it was a shock. But we all died laughing. I remember going to a drive-in once in 2011, and the double feature was Bridesmaids and X-Men. I think X-Men was first. I think it was X-Men First Class, followed by Bridesmaids. And I sat through Bridesmaids, watched the entire movie. Then X-Men started. And I kept saying to the girl I was dating at the time, that actress playing Moira, she looks familiar. Why do I know her? Why do I recognize that actress? She just looks familiar to me. I can't place her, though. Well, dumbass me. She was in Bridesmaids. I just sat through 2 hours watching her, and now she's in the next movie, too. And I'm sitting there going, she looks familiar. Man, what a dummy I am sometimes. Joey says, did I see that Amazon is selling cars now? No, I did not. I do know that they're saying that they're not going to ship anything to you now that's not of like vital household necessity because of the virus, which I get. I understand that. James says, ever seen the drive-in intermissions on YouTube? They're very interesting. No, I'm going to have to look for them. Where's my notebook? I should write that down. Drive-in intermissions. Are they actual, like, old, like, intermissions from a drive-in theater that have just been put up on YouTube? You know, I got my notebook and I don't have a pen. So I will not be writing this down because I don't have a pen here. Sam says people think I'm really young for some reason. How old are you, Sam? Oh, I shouldn't ask that. I thought that was like maybe part one of a two-part statement, but I don't see the other part. So I guess that was just a one statement. James says, Hall Pass is a great movie. Owen Wilson reminds me of the Amish guy from Kingpin. Funny thing is, both movies were directed by the Farley brothers. I never saw Hall Pass. I thought it looked dumb, but I've heard from several people that it's actually a really good movie. So I do need to check out Hall Pass one of these days. James says, ever seen the X-Men animated series from Fox Kids? Yes, I do remember the X-Men animated series. I was not a fan of it. I think I wasn't a fan of it because I remember when it started, when it was brand new. And it started the same time as Batman the Animated Series. I believe they started the same fall. And Batman was so special. Like, it was so stylized and beautiful. The animation, like, it was so fluid and so stylized. And it really was something special. And then I would watch X-Men, and it looked just like typical Saturday morning animation. And it just felt like such a step down from Batman. Now, as an adult, I look back on that, and I realize, well, that was a mistake of me to write something off just because it wasn't what the other show was. Like, each show should probably be appreciated for its own thing. But to say, well, this is great and this doesn't look like this, so this... I probably should go back and watch X-Men again now that it's on Disney+. Greg says, that happened to me. A channel I subscribed to wasn't showing their live stream, and I know they were streaming. I've heard weird stuff like that with YouTube before. Some channels say... I've heard some channels say that people get automatically unsubscribed. I don't know what would cause that, though. I don't know if I've ever been unsubscribed to a channel. James says, I recommend subscribe to Video Masters TV. They are great reviewers. I'll have to look for them, Video Masters. Punk Nerd says, I agree, drive-in intermissions are interesting. I got a playlist of them. Joey says, do you watch Lara Legends? One of you guys recommended Lara Legends to me before. I want to say it was Brandon. Was it Brandon? Was it you who recommended Lara Legends to me? But yeah, I subscribe to Lara Legends now. I don't watch her all the time, but I've seen her several times. I subscribe to her channel, and yeah, she's very good. There's only one toy channel that I'm not subscribed, that I don't want to subscribe to anymore, and you all know who that is. I don't need to say. Sam says, I'm an adult old enough to get paid, write movie reviews, and run a podcast and party. Sam, I didn't mean to indicate you weren't an adult. I just, a 70-year-old is an adult and a 25-year-old is an adult. It's like, I don't know where on the scale of adult you fall, but I kind of got the sense you're not, I don't think you're as old as I am, but I'm old as dirt. So at least I feel old as dirt. They say you're as old as you feel. I feel like dirt. So there you go. I feel old as dirt. Lisa says, my hometown drive-in last movies stayed up forever until it was dismantled more than a decade later. Police Academy, Vacation 83, and Gremlins with Twilight Zone. Oh, those are some good movies, too. Those are some good movies. Twilight Zone, I'm not as crazy about. I like the TV series better. But the other three, those are classics. Donald says, I watched Dogma for the first time this past weekend. I really enjoyed it. We all got together at my friend's house, got to watch it in their theater room. It must be nice to be married to a doctor. Jesse says, have you seen Legend with Tom Cruise and Tim Curry? Didn't we already answer that? I thought we answered that. I did. It's been a while. It's been a long time. It's been a long time. Getting from there to here. Sorry. Donald says, I have your stuff on my notification list so I get alerted to everything. Well, thank you. Thank you. There are some people who I subscribe to that I don't get notifications for, though. So I don't know. YouTube is glitchy. Brandon says, yes, Brandon was the one who advised me to check out Lara Legends. Punk Nerd says, maybe you and I could try to stream on StreamYard. I tried it with a YouTuber named 211 Gamer, and it worked perfectly. I'll have to look up StreamYard. I'm not familiar with it, but I will look it up. The person who I Skyped with yesterday, who will probably be like my next video to go up. So I don't want to say who it was because, spoilers. But we were having discussions about Skype and using Skype and how weird it can be. And despite the fact that he and I both were using Skype call recorder on a Mac, his version looked different than my version. And we're like, what is this? How come you and I are both using Macs, both using call recorder for Skype, and they look different? Like that, what is the deal? Like, it's like, shouldn't they be uniform? Shouldn't this program look like this? Like, how come it's different on both? Skype is weird, man. James says, ever seen the 60s Spider-Man series? Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. I own the DVDs. The Spider-Man 67 collection. And I got a question for you. Why isn't that on Disney Plus? That should be on Disney Plus. That's a classic show. Classic. By the way, did you guys hear what Jake Johnson's doing? Jake Johnson from New Girl and Jurassic World. He's the voice of Peter Parker in Into the Spider-Verse. He set up an email address where you can send him an email, and if he's going to try to get to as many as he can while he's quarantined, but he'll leave a voicemail message for your kids as Spider-Man. I thought that was pretty cool. So I don't know. He's getting a ton of requests though, so he probably will only get to a fraction of them. But I still thought it was a pretty cool thing. Nathan says Edge of Tomorrow was a really good Tom Cruise movie that didn't get much attention. Yes, yes. Live, Die, Repeat, it's now called. They changed the title. But yeah, I love that movie. I saw it in the theater. That was a great movie. I gotta watch that again. Joey says the Garfield movie is the reason I hate Bill Murray. He talked so much garbage about doing Garfield, but then came in return for the sequel. I don't think he had a choice. I think he was contractually obliged. I believe he signed a 2-picture deal. Jesse says, oops, sorry, Joe. I must have missed your answer. That's okay. I'm a scatterbrain. Maybe I didn't even get to it. Maybe I saw it in the the feed, and because the questions come fast and furious, as they say. I'm the world's worst drinker. We're an hour in, and I'm halfway through that beer. Talk about nursing your drink. Sam says it's been 13 months since I started watching your vids and streams. Wow. Well, I appreciate you watching all this time. James says, ever seen Spectacular Spider-Man? The cartoon? Yes. Again, I own the complete series. That was a great series. You know what show I really liked that doesn't get a lot of love? In 2003, there was a animated Spider-Man series for MTV that kind of mixed CG animation with traditional animation, and Neil Patrick Harris was the voice of Peter Parker, and Lisa Loeb was the voice of Mary Jane. That was a pretty good show, but it never really got a whole lot of attention. Never made it past the first season. Noah says, got some new posters for my room. Can I send you a picture on your Instagram? Yeah, I'd love to see them. I am a poster fanatic, so I keep buying posters, and then Christine's like, why'd you buy that? We don't have wall space. Why'd you buy that? And I'm like, I don't like posters. I don't know what to tell you. I got problems with posters and popcorn buckets. Like, you wouldn't believe how many popcorn buckets I have. Like, here's a Batman popcorn bucket. There's one that just says popcorn. There's one from the old Frank's Theater. That's Water Tower Cinema. The theater that was there prior to Water Tower Cinema was Frank's. There's another Frank's bucket. There's a Halloween popcorn bucket, another smaller popcorn bucket. And then there's a bunch more upstairs. I got a Last Jedi bucket upstairs. I've got a Frozen bucket upstairs. I got a popcorn bucket obsession. Well, this machine gets like quite a workout. We're always making popcorn. J2H is in my house. Welcome, J2H. Good to see you, my man. J2H and I have been doing the podcast together, and I'm dropping the podcasts every Friday. You can get them on Stitcher. You can get them on Apple Podcasts. You can get them at megapodtastic.com. And they've been going up every Friday. And episode 4 will be going up this Friday. But episode 4 is a little different because I took all the old podcasts off the stream for reasons. I got reasons. Trust me, I got reasons. I didn't just do it willy-nilly. There is a reason I do these things. But I'm proud of that content. I'm proud of the 300 episodes worth of content that I did prior. I needed to take it down for reasons. And I do want to get a lot of the classic bits that I'm proud of back out to you guys again. I don't want it to just disappear. So I'm planning every couple episodes to throw something classic down the feed and kind of cherry pick, repackage. Here's the best of the Megapodtastic podcast. So episode 4 dropping this Friday is a best of. It's an interview I did 11 years ago. Dave Perillo and I interviewed Heather Langenkamp, Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street, and that podcast is being re-released this Friday. So if you're a fan of Nightmare on Elm Street, please check it out. If you're a fan of the old sitcom Just the 10 of Us, please check it out. We talked about that too. Jesse says Oblivion was a great Tom Cruise movie that not a lot of people mention. You know, Jesse, I really liked Oblivion. But my problem with Oblivion was I felt it was too similar to another movie. But now I can't remember what that other movie was. I can't remember. There was another movie that I thought was very similar to Oblivion that came out first. And I remember watching Oblivion and saying, well, this is good, but I feel like I've seen this before. So that was my one issue with Oblivion. James says there's a Roseanne reboot that got retooled into the Connors. Thoughts? I was never a Roseanne fan. I never really liked Roseanne. But I'm glad that they kept the show going after she got fired because, you know, it wouldn't have been fair to all the other actors on the show, all the writers on the show, all the stagehands, producers, these TV shows, there's a lot of little people that work on the show that you don't think about. And the set designer, the best boy, the boom mic operator, those guys don't make a huge payday. And if the show gets canceled, they need to find another show then. So yeah, I think it's really good that they kept the show going because it saved jobs, frankly. It kept people working. So that's a good thing. James says, I love the Spider-Man 2003 series. It brought back the noir feel the 60s had. Yeah, I liked it. And they introduced a new character, Indy. She was a reporter, right? It's been a while since I watched the show. But I liked it. I have that Joey says, I have that 2003 Spider-Man Neil Patrick Harris show on DVD. I found it at Dollar Tree. You know what? It's funny you should mention that because I already owned it, but I picked one up at Dollar Tree. I don't know what happened to it, though. But I was thinking, hey, this is a good show. Not a lot of people remember it. It doesn't get a lot of attention. So I should pick this up and have it as like a giveaway item. Like if we do like a contest or something. Because it only cost me $1, but I also didn't see it in a lot of Dollar Trees. So I think it was one of the more rare Dollar Tree titles. So I thought, hey, this is something somebody might want. Joey says, if you have so many posters, why don't you do a new contest called Win Crazy Joe's Posters? It's funny you should mention that. There was a poll that went out at work the other day. At work, my boss sent out a poll to vote on the greatest game show of all time. And he gave us 3 choices: Jeopardy, Wheel of Fortune, and The Price is Right. And I voted for Jeopardy. Because of those 3, I believe Jeopardy's the best of those 3. But then I sent him an email and said, hey, where's Win Ben Stein's money? Where is Win Ben Stein's money? The show that introduced the world to Jimmy Kimmel. Where is it? Wasn't on there. Sam. Sam says, I had a childhood crush on Nancy from Nightmare on Elm Street. Sam, Nancy was my first crush. I loved Nancy. I loved her. And I told her that too. When we were done recording. Because I wasn't going to tell her before we recorded. I thought she'd get off that line too fast. But as soon as the interview was done and it was done recording, I said, I got a confession to make. You were my first crush. And she was very, very gracious about it. She's a sweet woman. If you ever meet Heather Langenkamp at a convention or anything, just a great woman. Really nice, really fan-friendly. She's great. Brandon says, I love the collector cups from theaters, not so much the buckets, but Regal only sells them as a combo now. Yeah, I got some of the cups too. But the popcorn buckets, see, the thing is, I use the popcorn buckets because we make popcorn so often. But the cups I would never use again. So, I don't know. Let's see. Greg says, speaking of Spider-Man, favorite movie actor? Favorite Spider-Man movie actor? Probably, Tom Holland's really good. Might be Tom Holland. He's not in my favorite Spider-Man movie, though. Spider-Man 2 is my favorite Spider-Man movie. I don't think they've ever topped Spider-Man 2. But in terms of actor, probably Tom Holland. Andrew Garfield was a really good Spider-Man as well. But his movies weren't very good. I feel bad. It's like he was a good Spider-Man in not so great movies. I feel like it's a shame. He never got his great Spider-Man movie that he deserved. Lisa says, have you been enjoying working from home? I'm enjoying the no travel time, but miss the change in scenery. It's okay. There's ups and downs. The commute is great. The commute is terrific. But the school is also closed. So we got my wife working from home upstairs. I'm working from home downstairs. My older daughter is taking classes online, and my 4-year-old has no one to play with because she's not taking classes online, and my wife and I are working, and my daughter is taking classes, and Kira's bored. I mean, she wants someone to play with her, but we're not available. We got to work. It's I feel bad for her. I feel bad for her. I definitely understand where she's coming from, but I got to work. I don't know. Donald says Elizabeth Shue in The Karate Kid was my crush. Yeah, I understand. Joey Baseball says your boss is wrong. The best game show ever is Nickelodeon Double Dare. You know what? That's a contender. That's a good one. That's a good one. I still pick Ben Stein's Money, but yeah, that's a good one. Puck Nerd says, I just watched a review about a weird Stan Lee show called Stripperella that was on Spike TV for one season. I remember Stripperella. I didn't really watch it, but I remember it being on. That was like right when Spike TV premiered, and they had like all these original shows like Blade the series. Blade the series was good. Blade, talk about an underrated gem. Blade the series was good. And you know what? It was a ratings hit too. It did well in the ratings. Didn't get a second season because they found the demographic watching the show. There were more women watching than men. And Spike wanted to be the network for men. So even though the show was getting ratings, they didn't want that demographic, and it got canceled. It's a shame. Jeff Johns, comic book writer Jeff Johns, a great comic book writer. He was one of the head writers on Blade the series. Anyway. Joey says, what happens with the AMC A-list and Regal A-list? They put AMC A-list on pause, so no one's getting charged anymore. I don't know about Regal. I'm not a member of Regal, so I'm not sure how Regal handled it. Jesse says, I always had a crush as a kid on Leah Thompson in Back to the Future. Well, guys, Punk Nerd says, I need Blade the series on DVD. Keep an eye out. That's one that seems to pop up a lot. Was that a Dollar Tree title? I seem to think Blade the series was a Dollar Tree title. I could be wrong. Lisa says, the Tough Pigs guys mentioned the show Special Delivery tonight. Oh, no. I'm thinking of Today's Special. What's Special Delivery? I can't remember Special Delivery. I remember... Wait, Special Delivery. That was like an anthology show that Nickelodeon, like every week, it was like on Saturday afternoons, it was like a movie, right? Like, it was always something different. You never knew what it was going to be, right? Like, it was like every Saturday they would show something different. Am I right? Am I right, Lisa? Because when you said Special Delivery, my first thing I thought of was Today's Special. You remember Today's Special with the mannequin who would come to life when you put the hat on him? And he would say, the mouse would say, Hocus Pocus Alamodocus, and the mannequin would come to life. That show was what I thought you meant at first, but that was called Today's Special. Am I right? Was Special Delivery the anthology thing that came on every Saturday afternoon on Nickelodeon, and it was always a TV movie or something, just like something different, something weird? Please let me know, Lisa. I'm counting on you because you were watching the thing on it. Yeah, that Special Delivery. I misspoken. It was today. Oh, it was Today's Special. What they were talking about. I gotta look up Special Delivery now though, because Special Delivery, I think that was like the anthology thing that like I remember Saturday news would be like, this week on Special Delivery, it's blah, you know. Greg says Leah Thompson for me too. Also Meg Ryan from When Harry Met Sally. Yeah, I loved Heather Langenkamp from Nightmare on Elm Street, and who else? I'm blanking. There must have been someone else, but that's the one that sticks out in my mind. That is the one that sticks out in my mind. James says, ever seen Speed Racer? Are we talking about the animated series or the movie? Because I've seen both. I liked the movie, and the animated series, I watched it as a kid, but it's a little too anime for me. You guys know I'm not really big into anime. Punk Nerd says Hawaii needs Dollar Trees and dollar DVDs and Blu-rays. Lisa says, yes, today's special. Have to research special delivery now. All right, guys, it's past 10 o'clock. I got to wrap this up. I want to thank you for tuning in. I want to thank you for coming by. It's appreciated. And we'll be here next Tuesday. And I do have some stuff coming down the pike for you. I got some videos that are shot. I have some ideas for some more stuff. You might think working from home that I might have more time on my hands now. It feels like I actually have less. It feels like I actually have less because the kids are restless. The kids are home. The kids are restless. And worst of all, the kids are staying up later because they have school in the morning. So one of my big things that I get things done when the kids go to sleep. And now I'm not getting things done when the kids go to sleep because the kids aren't going to sleep. So we'll see. Punk Nerd said, when is the giveaway? I don't know. I got to come up with a giveaway. I've been wanting to do some kind of, well, we did the popcorn bucket, but I've been wanting to do some more stuff. I don't know that I have anything really good for you guys, though. That's the thing. It's like, I got some stuff, but it's like, it's pretty run-of-the-mill stuff. I don't know if you guys will want it, but I don't know. We'll see. All right, guys. I'm going to close this out. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. And where's Gary with the joke? We don't get a joke this week from Gary? No joke. Gary's not here this week. We need a joke. Oh, well. Anyway, no joke this week. That's a shame. All right. Keep wearing those pajamas.